One thing that I really heard from you was access, them being able to have access. And Vic is big on access and exposure, especially for kids, and being able to get to them early as possible, right? So welcome to a very special episode of the What's Your Motive podcast. I have two distinguished gentlemen here that I have been working with a lot over the past couple of years, just in terms of community work, building partnerships and things like that. But more importantly, we are here live on location at the lovely Messmer High School. And it's great to be here because not only myself and Vic are alumni, but we actually have the gentleman at the helm, Dr. Richard Mannisto, who's here. He's the president of Messmer. We've been engaged in a lot of conversations just about Messmer, but we also want to highlight some of the great things that Messmer has been doing recently, particularly the 100-year celebration of Messmer, in addition to some other things that we have coming up soon. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Victor Sloan and Dr. Rich Mannisto.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
How you guys doing, gentlemen?
Fabulous. It's great to be here.
Good to see you guys. No rain yet, which is great, right?
Only water here is in our mugs right now.
Absolutely. I'll drink to that.
Me too.
Nonetheless, how you guys feeling today? Everything good? Everything's going?
Good, man.
Everything's good? Work is good?
Yes.
School year is coming to an end?
It is. Our big gala next week.
Yes.
So
yes.
we're
Can't
off
forget
and
about
rolling.
the gala. And we'll get into that as we move right along. So the first question here, though, we'll start with you, Rich. What does Messmer Catholic Schools mean to you?
It's a really special place.
Okay.
And the special place started, in my mind, 30 years ago. So my father-in-law is an alum of Messmer. But as I was a young teacher growing up in Milwaukee, Brother Bob was on the news, and you heard about this amazing place called Messmer, and all of a sudden they got Tommy Thompson, Governor Thompson then was on TV, and the gym was named after him.
Yep.
And here you have Brother Bob revitalizing a Catholic school, and a great school was bought. There's this magical place that on the north side of Milwaukee that we are all gravitating to in education, saying, wow, we got to figure out what's going on there. Something special is happening on the north side of Milwaukee at Messmer. And I always was drawn to it, but honestly, I never got a chance to come here until I got hired as president. But immediately when I walked in the door, I could tell this is a place of family, this is a place of respect, and it's a place that really wants to impact our city. And that's what makes Messmer really special.
Absolutely. For Vic, what about you?
Messmer definitely holds like a special place in my heart, specifically because I believe it represents what happens when you bring quality education and high standards to potential, right? I believe that the community is full with potential, and the educational system plays a big part in how they turn out with that potential. And they've been doing that for 100 years.
Yes.
So I think that needs to be highlighted. And I think they're unsung heroes of Milwaukee, actually, if you ask me,
Yes.
in my opinion. So it means a lot to me. I got a special place in my heart for sure.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the reasons why we try to come back a lot of times, because I think when we're in the midst of the journey of going to Messmer as students, you kind of don't really pay attention to it, or you take it for granted a little bit. And then as you become that senior and you start growing up, you start realizing like just how advantageous Messmer was to you and your overall well-being. And that's why we're sitting here today. So thank you guys for that. So moving right along, Mannisto, what did it mean for you to step into the role as being president here at Messmer?
A big responsibility. There were big shoes to fill. Jim Pyatt, who was here 12 years before me, just did an amazing job shepherding Messmer along after Brother Bob retired. And I realized this legacy is so important, not only to just great alums like the two of you, but to the city, and how important it is to carry on our traditions and the impact that our bishops make today, but have made in the past. So as we look at these 100 years, it's like holding a treasure. I remember like go to grandma's house and she'd give you like this family heirloom.
Right.
That's how I feel it is for Messmer, that this has been given to me to carry on and to the next generation. And boy, don't mess it up.
No, absolutely.
And we're going to grow it, and we're going to take care of it. We're going to nurture Messmer. But it's a big responsibility, but it's a very exciting time to be here at Messmer.
Absolutely. Rich in tradition for sure. Vic,
Yes.
when did you realize that Messmer was more than just like a school for you?
So honestly, Walt, there's been many instances since I graduated, but one specific thing that made me realize that was my freshman year, second semester. I was kind of having a hard time transitioning from public school into Messmer, and so I was asked to do another semester back in public school, and I transitioned there well because I came from public school, but deep down inside, I really wanted to get back to Messmer, like the culture of the education, the standards that
Yes.
they held us to educationally, just the friends that I had made, the calm, clean environment here was like something that I wanted to get back to. I had my taste of it, and I wanted it back. So I would say my freshman year, I think I realized much earlier than a lot of other students because I had to take that semester off. So I think I would say then.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Would you agree that you still see some of those remnants that he's speaking of today?
Absolutely. There's a high expectations culture, and that's what the parents and the students want. They want a safe school. They love the Catholic values that we still espouse today, 100 years later, because they know, our parents know that when you have high expectations, good values, and you can be in a safe place where you feel loved, you're going to excel and you're going to bring that forward in your life. That's what Messmer is all about, giving opportunities like we gave to you.
And staying right there, when you mentioned expectations, Vic, how were the expectations different for you in regards to what you were used to prior to coming to Messmer?
So I'll say this, the expectations were actually right on course for what my parents expected.
Beautiful, beautiful.
But I think the school district that I was in, maybe, those expectations didn't meet up what my parents expected and what they expected.
Gotcha.
So, hey, we expect you to move on to the next level, but my parents might say, hey, we expect you to excel, though. We don't want you to just, scurry
on.
by.
Yeah.
We want you to go to the next level in fashion. And I think that was what Messmer had,
Right.
similarly. So I think their expectations just met my parents, and I think that's why I did well, because when you're at home, if there's one expectation, and at school there's a different one. It's a mixed signal, right? So
Yes.
I think that kept me balanced throughout the day.
Right.
This is what is expected here, and this is what is expected here, and I think it came all together.
So I think it's safe to say that your parents' expectations and Messmer expectations kind of aligned, especially in terms of, like you said, trying to cultivate and allow that potential to effervesce into who you became today, right? I think that was a huge thing. And then just even the simple fact that you actually left Messmer or had to leave, and you were able to get that second chance, and then now you're in the Essence magazine because of what actually occurred and kind of like your story and how that all came about, and that's a tribute to Messmer. And I think that speaks to the responsibility, like you said, that you have as a president of Messmer and carrying on those types of things as well. So we're celebrating 100 years, Mannisto.
Yes.
How do you honor that legacy while still pushing the school forward?
Well, we had a unique opportunity this year already to celebrate this 100th anniversary with our students during a special assembly, where we showed them a 100th anniversary video, and we talked about what's happened these last 100 years. It goes all the way back to our founding. Archbishop Messmer founded Messmer High School in 1926 because the churches and the parishes and the communities in Milwaukee couldn't get along. It's amazing how history continues to repeat itself.
Right.
He wanted a high school that all the Catholic churches and the parishioners said, this is our high school. He wanted to unite people to bring them together. And that we still see that today at Messmer. We stand on the shoulders of great alums, not only these two great alums here, who I'll put a commercial in, who have started Empower MKE as a nonprofit to really impact this neighborhood and many of the zip codes around Messmer, which is just amazing. But that tradition goes way back. This is a place where you can realize your dreams. For instance, like Paul Schramka was a class of 45, was part of the Cubs for his professional career. He had a dream to go into baseball, so he saw that dream through athletics. Other people, it's through their academics. So George Collentine, 1937 grad, went to war and came back and started the St. Mary's Burn Center at St. Mary's Hospital by the lake, which became a national network. So that's a Messmer bishop that saw a need and fulfilled it because he got a great education, high expectations here at Messmer, and took that forward. So we have the honor of teaching our students that people went before you, and you can blaze your path for the next generation. So we remember our alums, we thank them, we honor them, we engage with them, but then that gives a springboard for students, their dreams and God's vocations that they're going to explore here at Messmer can be realized, and it's real. So we have these great stories to share in 100 years with them in our community to show the great impact that Messmer had on the city.
Absolutely, absolutely. And even just thinking about that, like you said, how Archbishop Messmer kind of like started to unify, and the fact that we were able to actually utilize what was built, right? So Vic, you know, when you think about that, like how did Messmer impact you beyond academics and just in your life?
Yeah. So I would say Messmer was my first real test as a teenager. That was my first test. And the reason I say that is because coming up elementary, middle school, in my mind, I always thought I was like the smartest person in the room. Kid, right?
Right.
Like, but my academics didn't show that. My academics actually showed that I was at the end, right? Like, so you wouldn't think that I would be here where I'm at right now, but I always knew in my mind, I'm like, but I just didn't know. So I think Messmer challenged me. Challenged my character. It challenged me academically. It challenged my discipline. Because as you know, a lot of people have went to Messmer, but not a lot have graduated.
We did have a few.
And so we'll go past people, oh yeah, I went to Messmer from freshman and sophomore. And we're like, well, what happened? Oh, I end up going, somewhere else. And I think we know that it wasn't easy for as a teenager you had to really lock in. You had to conduct yourself a certain way.
Be consistent.
You had to be consistent. You had to carry book bags that were extremely heavy with 10 books in there, right?
To study table, practice.
If you were an athlete, now you got to go to practice, and then you were expected to represent Messmer outside of Messmer.
Yes.
When we were around the corner at Burger King, if anything as far as behavior got back to Brother Bob or Mr. Monday or, any of the administrators, we had to be held accountable for that. And so I think it was the first test to showing me that I was who I thought I was. And now that I did that, now let's continue on and be better and keep improving. But that was my first real test. Right. Honestly.
And you just said something. That was a huge deal when we were in high school, that we were Messmer students, but even when we were outside of the school, no matter where we were in the community, we were still representing Messmer. Yes. So like he said, around the corner, down the street, at a rival basketball game, at a function, the grocery store, whatever, you were a Messmer student, you were held accountable. Because if they heard about it, something got back.
I promise you this, I don't know how they would get the information.
But they got it.
It's like, Mayfair Mall.
It still happens today. We banned Messmer students from McDonald's for about 6 weeks this fall because they couldn't behave themselves. They're all wearing Messmer sweatshirts. We got word of that. Principal Jordan said, that's it. You don't get to go there. You lost your privilege.
Absolutely.
Because you're representing Messmer and everything that stands for out in the community.
Absolutely, absolutely. And moving on to you, Mannisto, how do you see Messmer continuing to impact the community outside of the classroom?
Well, it's an exciting time as we are looking to expand Messmer. We're connecting with our neighborhood, and particularly our neighborhood association, where we're even hosting a wellness fair with them in a couple of weeks. But now we're starting to find ways for our students to go out into the community. So how do our students that are in the trades go out and maybe help out some of their neighbors? How do we go out and work with our neighborhood so that folks around Messmer can stay in their homes? Or if they need help shoveling or grass cutting, all those types of little service activities, that we're trying to engage students in a meaningful way, that their service to the community is going to help Messmer, but you're helping someone else. And no matter what your station in life is or what you have, you can always give of yourself.
Yes.
And that's something that I think has been a hallmark for of Messmer for many, many decades, but we're really trying to live that out today and make those connections. And it's been beautiful. The neighborhood has loved reconnecting with Messmer and coming back inside and partnering together. So, it's just something that we really feel, if the neighborhood can see that Messmer is a great place and it grows, then Milwaukee's just going to succeed.
Right.
Because we're going to impact this little corner and keep this a great place to work and live. And our goal is to get more Messmer bishops just even living in our backyard here.
Absolutely.
So we've got some big plans on the horizon for that.
Oh, absolutely. And I definitely can see that impact kind of like metastasizing throughout the city as well, especially as we continue to grow and things like that. Because if I'm not mistaken, I believe some of the students actually help out with, I think, one of the organizations, what's it called? She Slings Wood.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
they
during
do a lot
winter
with her
this year,
in regards to that.
They
so,
rehabbed the house
There
during the
you
month of
go.
January.
Yeah.
They
so,
learned skills, but here a house gets rehabbed in our neighborhood and usable instead of falling apart.
Exactly, and it's extremely helpful to the neighbors and the individuals in the community that may not be able to kind of like sometimes afford some of those things. So be able to help have some of that labor. Not saying it's all free, but just in the stake of the kids giving back and being
Absolutely.
community. So, Vic, you stay connected. And you continue to, work and give back, right? Even partnering and things like that. So, but especially, like Dr. Mannisto mentioned earlier about the nonprofit. So talk a little bit about Energize MKE, what inspired it, and how does Messmer play a role in that mission?
So what inspired it, honestly, was respect and admiration. Because at the same time that I was doing the Tot Lot tournament, around the same time you were going off into being an educator at Messmer Prep.
Right.
And I seen you coach basketball. I seen you be a dean of students. I seen you do AD. I seen you do all of these things. But when I would come and see the love that the students had for you, it was like genuine. I don't know if you know that, but like I would see them run up to you. You were like a magnet for all of them, right? And then when we came to Messmer, with Tot Lot the first year, I seen all of the high school students, Cullen, and they were running to you, right? And I'm like, man, like he had a real impact on them because these were seniors, juniors,
Right.
and they just wanted to tell you what they had going on, and you knew all of them. And I admired that because I was like, he must have had a real impact on the kids.
I hope so.
And I know that's tough though, kids coming from the inner city because they're dealing with so many different things. But I watched how they attracted to you, and I was like, well, man, I've been doing what I've been doing in the community. If we can merge this together, I think we can get way more done together than apart. So that's what inspired it, per se. And then what role Messmer plays in that or played in that? Well, obviously you were working for Messmer, so I wouldn't even seen all of those great things or qualities that you were doing if it wasn't for Messmer.
Gotcha.
So they provided a space for you to be able to grow professionally.
Absolutely.
And also have an impact on the kids. So what role do they play, if any, would just be allowing us to continue to have an impact on the kids that are here. In any way that we can give a word to them, any way we can help them or help Messmer, we all here for it, I would think. So.
Absolutely. And then even Messmer and Mannisto just being so gracious to allow us to utilize the facilities, utilize the areas, have access to the actual space and place is a huge, we have a huge appreciation for it because it's not often that you're able to have a collaborative relationship where it's, kind of like that, but it feels a lot more, I can't think of the word, but it's extremely, heartwarming, the fact that we're alumni and we're able to come back into a space that we were frequented for 4 years. You know what I mean? And to feel welcome. Like I feel welcome walking through the doors, right? You feel welcome. So it's like they gave so much. Now we got the nonprofit. Let's give it back. And let's give it back to the people that started it. So what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, it's a win all the way around because not only do we get to talk about this is why we do the work we do at Messmer. You guys are the living example of what we want our bishops going out into the community because we're going to make it a better place.
That's right.
You had a hope and a dream, and you're giving hope and dream now to the next generation. And that's how we lift up our community.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I just want to thank Dr. Mannisto though, because since I met him, he's been open arms as far as like,
Absolutely.
what do you guys have planned? What do you have going on? Let me know some of your ideas. And you know, he's like you said, he's been very welcoming, and I think that's a testament to who he is. So I'm gonna thank
Absolutely.
you.
Wow. You guys, we became fast friends that first day.
Yes.
I mean, we were hugging, everything. It was like taking selfies
Yes.
down by the gym.
Yes, I remember like it was yesterday, and Vic came up to me. He was like, "Man, that stuff was super cool," like right away. And you know, I would be remiss not to mention the fact that this has been a a great collaboration, things like that. But Vic, you know, just for you to be doing the the top lot and things like that for 15 years, to be this year 15, right? Just thinking about how, although you were doing other things and you started your own business and things like that, but for you to still have that sense of urgency to be like, I still want to impact the community, and you've been doing it for such a long time, and I want to applaud you for that.
Thank you.
And additionally, you know, the fact that it was even Vic's idea to come to Mannisto with the idea about all that, because he felt the genuineness from you. So I want to shout out both of you guys for just doing that. I'm here, but I appreciate being able to observe and be a part of it.
Thank you.
Walt inspires us.
Yes.
Right? We all aspire to have our own podcast. I'll tell
What
you.
do they say? Iron sharpens iron.
Exactly.
You know?
Iron sharpens iron. So as we get ready to wrap up here, I got a few more questions, more so about the future of things like that. So, Mannisto, what is your vision for Messmer over the next 3 to 5 years, and how do alumni like Vic and I fit into that vision?
So our vision is that Messmer is a premier, innovative Catholic high school that lifts up its students and community with the gospel. Something we've been doing for 100 years, but we want to really dig into that. And that vision is going to mean that we're going to expand the school. We want to grow from the 500 students we have today to 600, 700, or 800 students over the next even decade. But it take us a little bit longer. But it means adding on to the building, and we're working on putting our first ever practice fields in, so that we're giving our students have the very best. That the kids from the 53206 and 212 and 209 zip codes, when they walk in the Messmer, like, they are getting not only a quality education, but they're getting facilities and spaces and programming that matches that. So what we ask of our alums, hey, come and reconnect with us, like you guys are doing. You're here every couple of months.
Yes.
Coming through the door, brightening my day, and saying hello to teachers. We love that, because we love to understand what has worked well for you. You're inspiring not only to us, but we want you to engage and mentor our kids. We want you to continue praying for Messmer. We got a big vision, a big fundraising goal, and of course support as alums are able, but really spread the word. As we're going to grow Messmer, we want alums kids. We have multiple. Right now, we have a third generation alum that of kids sending their kids here, which is remarkable, and we want to see that continue as we grow. And just spread the word to your neighbors that this is a great place. If you're looking for a high school, there's nowhere else to go. That would be the biggest help that you can give us.
And beautifully said, because, and one of the things as you were talking, I was thinking of where you said like all these individual students and kids coming from various area codes and things like that, and having these programming. One thing that I really heard from you was access, them being able to have access. And Vic is big on access and exposure, especially for kids, and being able to get to them early as possible, right? So we can train them up as best that we can go. So when you think about what Dr. Mannisto was talking about, the access, that programming, the opportunities that he's trying to provide for everyone, what do you think? What do you say to that?
I mean, I totally agree. He's right on. I think like what Dr. Mannisto said, for the future, I just hope that Messmer continues to be able to impact more students. It's like you said, 500 right now. Hopefully we can grow that to 1,000. Maybe we can have a second campus, whatever. But I just think that I want to, personally, I have to say this, one of my dreams for Messmer in this next 100 years is to become a hub for student athletes. I have watched so many athletes from the area go out to suburban schools, and there's nothing wrong with those schools and those educations, but I believe Messmer has the best education. It's close to home.
100%.
And I just don't think that they know what type of education you get here, what type of support you get here,
Yes.
What type of encouragement you get here.
Absolutely.
And if I can be a voice for that, I'll talk to the parents myself, to the students myself.
There you
Trust
go.
me
You got
on
another
this one.
ambassador.
Trust me on this one. Messmer is the place for you. As long as you want to work. If you want to work for it, and then, you know, because we know athletics drives schools a lot of times. It gets the kids excited. It gets the teachers excited.
The community rally behind it.
So I just hope for this next 100 years, you know, we can grow to be a hub for all of the student athletes from the area, so they don't have to go so far to get a good education. I feel like Messmer is here, and they need to you know, lock in, man, with the school.
Definitely a cornerstone, and he kind of stole my thunder and he led into the last question, but it's totally fine. So if he wants to expound on it, he can.
Okay.
But one of my final questions is, in the next 100 years of Messmer, what does it need to look like, and what role do each of you play in it? Either one of you.
Well,
Go
ahead. I jumped ahead. I was just thinking based off of what he was saying, but just the same thing. Well, you know, I hope that the Messmer continues to do what they've already been doing. The core values and those things don't change. That made Messmer.
Right.
But I hope, you know, that their reach, you know, gets further and
people can see that.
Service more students, you know. And outside of that, like I said, I hope the athletics get better, because I'll be right front row with my Letterman jacket on, you know, cheering them on, man, hoping they win. It's Messmer's time.
Yes.
You gotta, you know,
yes.
It's just like the Bucks. For 50 years, they hadn't won a championship. I think Messmer hasn't won since like '98. We need one back here.
We need one.
Hopefully that comes.
There you go.
Well, it's not far off of your vision, Vic. We're going to become bigger. We're going to find better ways to connect with our community and our city, because when kids are successful at Messmer, our neighborhoods win, our city wins.
Yep.
And we're caretakers of a big vision. When you say, what's my role? It's stewarding this wonderful place called Messmer. And, you know, we don't want a multi-site school again, but we'll keep growing this site here.
Right.
But it's as big and as bold as we can get that. And that's through athletics, that's through academics. You know, we're bringing back our fine arts program. We really want Messmer to be this comprehensive hub of the community. So we've got exactly same vision.
I got you. They sound like they align. Before we get out of here, though, I want you guys to highlight the gala that's coming up next week, Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, and we can talk about that.
Sure. We're really excited. This is Messmer's kind of first ever gala, at least in recent times, that we've had. And we have almost 600 people coming back. Probably over half the room are alumni. So it's going to be this grand, big reunion at the Italian Community Center. We've got history video there. In 8 minutes, 100 years in 8 minutes.
Wow.
That will be showing off. But we've got city officials. We've got longtime supporters. Some of the folks that were in the Save Messmer committee back in the 80s.
Yep, I remember you showing me that.
If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here today. So we get to honor that past. But we're also at that event going to peel back what the additions are going to look like. We have renderings of what the campus will look like in the future.
Okay.
So we're just going to have celebrate 100 years, but then have a look forward saying, here's what the next 100 is going to bring for us.
Okay. Looking forward to attending that. We will be in the house that day, that evening. So we're looking forward to everything that goes on with that and the festivities. Happy to be partnered with you, with Messmer. Just really, truly appreciate just being able to come back and continue to do things and build, but also take it from here and spread out that love and those resources that we have as well. So thank you both for coming on today and being able to talk about these different topics and things and shed light on Messmer, but also on Energize MKE, the gala, the 100 years, all of the cornerstone things that we have here going on. And I truly, truly appreciate it today, fellas.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Honored to be with you guys.
Yeah. I appreciate it. So until next time, what's your motive?